My wildcard has catapulted me from 500k to 200k in just 2 game weeks. I'm going to try and capitalise even further this game week with 2 free transfers, but there's no time like the present. These deadlines are coming thick and fast, so let's get on with the team reveal. Something that didn't quite pay off this game week was the triple Arsenal defence. I did manage to get 2 attacking returns from Gabriel, and I got 3 clean sheets last game week out of the 3 of them, so 5 returns from these 3 players in 2 game weeks isn't too bad. That's 3 returns in 2 game weeks for Gabriel, and it did say that he's the best defender in the game to own. And I have been right there, but I have been at the positive end of variance. At the same time, I've been at the negative end of variance by not going with Saka. He's only had 2.5 expected goal involvements in the last 2 games, but he's managed to get 6 returns. I have considered downgrading an Arsenal player, then taking a hit to sell Bruno Fernandes for Saka, which would mean that I could get Saka in my team as my 3rd Arsenal player, but for me, that's full-blown knee-jerk. I'm considering selling Bruno anyway, and there's a player that's been ruled out for quite a few game weeks which I need to sell as well. I've got 2 free transfers, and do you know what? I am happy with the triple Arsenal defence from this point onwards, and I have been for the past 2 game weeks, and where I allocated the budget in midfield, I have got plenty of points anyway. If Saka topped my captaincy matrix in the next few game weeks, I would of course bring him in, but that means that I would have brought him in on the wild card anyway. I don't think it's worth ripping my team apart. My next play is just a placeholder, which is Vestergaard against West Ham at home. It's not a bad fixture, but he will take the 2nd spot on the bench, which is the 1st defender spot. That means Van den Berg will take the last spot on the bench, and Konate, I am actually going to sell him, and I will probably get another Liverpool defender. I think I'll either go for Gomez, who's only 4.8 mil, which means I'll get more budget in my team, or I could actually upgrade to Trent, and that means I need to downgrade a midfielder, which I will discuss shortly. The reason I'm strongly considering a Liverpool defender is because the defence is so strong, but if we look at the fixture difficulty ratings from a defensive perspective, there are other options. Now right at the top are West Ham and Wolves. I will not be considering them. They've got very poor defences. I do like Brighton, and I do like Chelsea. Obviously City are an option, but they're conceding a lot of goals recently because Rodri's not playing. So I do think I'll either go for Brighton or Chelsea, and they do offer cheaper options. Could I either go for Dunk? Now right now, whilst this video is being recorded, Brighton haven't had the press conference. I'm not sure if Dunk's going to play or not. As for Chelsea, obviously they have got Spurs next game week, but outside of that, they've got very easy fixtures, and Colwell's a decent option as well. He's only 4.5 mil. So they're the players that I'm considering replacing Konate with, and I will definitely be selling him. Another player that I'm considering selling is Bruno Fernandes. He's got Arsenal away this game week, then he's got Forest at home, and then City away. I think he's worth selling. Obviously, with it being a double transfer, each transfer affects the other one in terms of budget. So if I sell Konate for Trent, I can only bring in a cheaper midfielder, and that's the same the other way around as well. If I sell Konate for a cheap defender, then I can get a slightly more expensive midfielder. If I do bring in Trent, I'm actually considering bringing Rodgers in midfield. He's got Brentford at home this game week, Southampton at home the game week after that, and then I've got 7 other good attackers where they can all step in anyway. It's really good for rotation, and it means I could keep Isak if he's injured. As a disclaimer, this is being recorded before the press conference. He might be fully fit to play. I will discuss shortly who I'd replace Isak with if he is injured. But anyway, with Rodgers and Trent, it would leave 1.5 mil in the bank, which would give me more flexibility going forward, especially when I do want to bring Haaland back in. I am saying when and not if, because at some point he is going to top my captaincy matrix. I am going to want him back in my team. Looking at it, I think I'm much more likely to go down the Trent and cheaper midfielder route. When I look at the more expensive midfielders, there's not really anyone I want in my team. I know you could say benefit of hindsight, you could get Saka, but I'm really happy with the 3 Arsenal defenders that I've got. I could go for Foden at 9.1 mil because my budget would be 9.3 mil if I went for Dunk, or 9.2 mil if I went for Colwill. But if you look at his expected minutes, they're not too reliable. And is City's attack reliable right now? I'm not really sure about that. But we all know how talented Foden is, and he's someone I've got to be open-minded about. I will consider him. When I have made that midfielder transfer, whoever it is, will probably go into the first starting 7 attackers, and I will move another attacker onto the bench, and I will discuss who that will be shortly. It certainly won't be any of my midfielders. Semenyo's got Spurs at home, which is actually a decent fixture right now from an attacking perspective. That's because they've got defensive injuries, and he has served his ban, so I don't need to worry about the yellow card situation anymore. Salah and Palmer both contend for captaincy this game week. It is a classic form versus fixture. I'm not going to spoil who my captain is, but I have published a best captain video, so make sure you watch it after this. Salah's obviously going nowhere with the form that he's in, and Palmer's going nowhere with the fixtures that he's got. Chelsea have got the best attacking fixtures in the whole league, so he's going to be there for the foreseeable future. And with Liverpool as well, you can see they've got Leicester at home in game week 18 and West Ham away in game week 19. So I do think I'm going to keep these two premium players for quite a while. A player that's been performing like a premium recently is Mitoma. He's got 19 points in the last 2 game weeks. That's when I bought him on the wild card. And you know what? The alternative was Mbumo. He's only scored 5 points in that period of time. So it gained 14 points there. And that's actually solely gave me 200k in rank on its own because Mitoma's been a differential. He's flying up in ownership now. And I would suggest you buy him whilst Brighton have still got favourable fixtures and his underlying stats are very promising. I've already got ahead of the curve and it's not too late to jump on him. But from my perspective, I'm very happy that I've gained those points and I've saved a free transfer because I was always going to sell Mbumo for Mitoma this game week if I went with him. Another differential punt that's paid off is Jackson. He's not quite a differential anymore, but he's managed to get me 18 points in the last 2 game weeks. I could have been deterred by the yellow card situation. He hasn't still picked up that 5th yellow card, but it doesn't matter too much because I got Leicester in game week 12 and now I've got Southampton in game week 14. They were the 2 matches that I really wanted him for, so he didn't serve his suspension. And whenever he does serve his suspension, if that's the case, which it probably will be, I don't mind too much about the other fixtures because I've got 7 attackers where they can cover him. Next up is Isak and I'm not sure on his availability. This is being recorded before Newcastle's press conference, so I can get the video out so you can watch it. But realistically, from experience, I've noticed that Eddie Howe's press conferences are as clear as mud. He could say that he's not available and he'll start, or he could say that he's available and he won't start. Either way, if I sell Bruno Fernandes, that midfielder will come into the first team, and Isak's the player that I bench anyway because he's got Liverpool at home. I will just have to judge whether I sell Isak or Bruno Fernandes. I could keep Bruno Fernandes, but that's 3 fixtures in a row that I don't want to keep him for because they're all difficult from an attacking perspective. Whilst it is Liverpool at home this game week for Isak, I would rather keep him. He's got Brentford away the game week after, which isn't too bad. Leicester at home is extremely favourable, and so is Ipswich away. Those 3 fixtures after that is a decent run. If I was to replace him, which I don't think is likely, I'd probably go for Watkins, who's got Brentford at home, then Southampton at home. Then I bench him in game week 16 and 17, where his fixtures are more difficult. And that would mean that I couldn't go for Rodgers because I only like to bench 1 attacker for those unfavourable fixtures. If I did go for Rodgers, I would probably go for Solanke. It's Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home and Southampton away. That's still not a bad run of fixtures, but I would want to either sell him or bench him in game week 17 and game week 18. So whilst I'm not keen on selling Isak because he's got favourable fixtures after this game week, if he's fit and available to play, I'm not too keen on the replacements either. So I highly doubt that I'm going to sell Isak unless he's ruled out for the long term. Lastly is perhaps the best budget enabler in the game, João Pedro. He is getting enough minutes now. He got 71 in the last match. It's not ideal that he's not getting 90, but you can't expect much for his price tag. He is probably the best value for money player right now. I say that because he puts up decent underlying stats. He looks like he's on penalty duties. And as we've seen earlier, Brighton have got extremely favourable fixtures. So in summary, the 2 free transfers aren't locked in, but they're probably going to be Konate to Trent and Bruno to Rodgers, leaving £1.5 million in the bank for flexibility. I'm working out to publish 4 videos this game week. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of them. I've already published another one, which is my best captain video. It's a pretty good one this game week. Make sure you go and watch it if you've not already.